The following program, NORML Show Live, is intended for responsible adults only. We advocate for the repeal of marijuana prohibition for adults. We discuss the science, culture, and controversy about America's marijuana laws. We do not advocate or encourage any illegal activity and advise all listeners to learn their state and federal marijuana laws by visiting norml.org, NORML.org. Opinions and claims made by guests and advertisers of NORML Show Live are their own and do not necessarily reflect the philosophy and policies of NORML. Listener discretion is advised.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth. Hey!
Spanning the continent to bring you the truth about cannabis and marijuana law reform.
I smoke pot and I like it a lot.
From the promise of legalization.
And I think we need to think and decriminalize our marijuana laws.
To the agony of prohibition.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
The National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws presents NORML Show Live, Marijuana Nation. Now, here's your host, NORML's Outreach Coordinator, Radical Russ Belville.
Good afternoon, tokers and tokettes. It is Thursday, February 17th, 2011, and it's got to be 420 somewhere in the world. Thanks for joining us here for this fabulous Thursday show. We got tons of stuff to get to, so let's get right to it. First of all, let's introduce our good friend, the engineer, keeping everything running on the technical end, Ganja John.
What's up, Russ?
Oh, man, I'm having a good time, but you're having a better time. You got comedy shows to go to this week.
I got a lot of comedy shows to go to this week. I got Brian Posehn tonight, Doug Benson on Monday. I'm going to be out of pot by the time this is over.
Yeah, really. And one other guy.
And Rob Delaney.
Rob Delaney, that's right. So the Helium Comedy Club here in Portland has been booking a lot of great acts, and it's our hope. We're sending Ganja John in to infiltrate the Helium Comedy Club, and hey, maybe we can work out a deal where they send, whenever they get a comedian in, they send them over here for interviews.
Honestly, I can tell you guys right now that Helium Comedy Club is the best thing to happen in Portland, and if you guys want to check them out, Twitter at HeliumPDX.
Right on.
Yep.
Also joining us from our virtual studios in beautiful Grastoria, Oregon is the lovely and talented Cannabis Carrie.
Hello. It's so nice to be back with you guys.
I heard you had a great meeting of your North Coast NORML chapter up there in Astoria.
We did. It was a lot of fun. We think we might have nailed down a more permanent place to meet, and a lot of people showed up, so it was fantastic.
Excellent. What better place to fight for marijuana law reform than the beautiful Oregon coast? Glad you guys are getting active up there. On today's show, we got all sorts of great stuff for you. We want to send our wishes out to our Thursday music editor, Tim Martin from John Doe Radio. Follow him at John Doe Radio on Twitter, or follow johndoeradio.com on the internets. He had to have a kidney stone surgery, I take it.
Stuck, so they had to actually go in and pull it out.
I have had a kidney stone. I had one a couple, maybe it was 2-3 years ago, and it knocked me down on the floor. It's the worst pain I'd ever felt in my life. So to have one that didn't pass, I mean, I didn't have to have surgery or anything, but one that big. And it's not like Tim's a big guy or anything.
No.
Man, no. Feel for you, buddy. I hope you're doing okay. I know that probably got you on that morphine drip. It'll be all right. So we've got some music from the archives we're bringing back up for our Groovin' Thursday today. Potluck with Tech 9 with What Are We? So we'll be grooving today. In half past the hour, we'll be talking in our Southern California scene with Terry Joyce, the Hollywood Hemptress. She's got a new show out. We'll talk about that. Plus, she's bringing a guest, Reverend High, who's going to be quoting to us from the Book of Chronic. So we'll get our churching on, I believe. And then at the end of the show, a little bit of Radical Rant. I'm going to talk about the need for outreach to our friends in the Latino community to help end this war on drugs. I'll give you some of the statistics from Mexico and America as far as what the drug war is doing to the Latino community. But before we get to all that, we start with Cannabis carrying the hemp headlines. What's in the news today?
Well, we do have more legislative news. There's bills we're going to talk about from Kansas, Wyoming, tax estimates from Washington State. But first up, it's kind of an update on a story we did last month, Clell Baldler's excellent adventure.
Clell Baldler. Oh, this is going to be a good one. Also, I got a quick story from right here in Northwest Oregon about man's best friend and A terrible story. A terrible story. We'll bring that to you and more coming up on Normal Show Live. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Normal Show Live, the voice of the marijuana nation.
In today's busy world, we're inundated by advertising for all types of pharmaceuticals that come with a laundry list of potential side effects. Shouldn't you have better medical choices? Natural alternatives to pills pushed by Big Pharma? At Alternative Medical Choices, you could choose natural, safe, and effective alternative therapies that are right for your budget without nasty side effects. Cannabis, or marijuana, has been a legal medicine in the Pacific Northwest since 1998. Our doctors will help determine your qualifications for a medical marijuana recommendation in Oregon, no matter where you live. Our massage therapists will ease your aches and stress with soothing hemp seed oil or cannabis-infused massage salves. We also offer acupuncture, Reiki, and other alternative health therapies. Call Alternative Medical Choices in Portland, Oregon at 503-288-5579 or visit our website at www.altmedchoices.com. We specialize in out-of-state recommendations. That's www.altmedchoices.com or call 503-288-5579.
High in the Rockies, for the first time ever, High Times is hosting the Medical Cannabis Cup in the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado. Come to the High Times Medical Cannabis Cup. There'll be cultivation seminars with High Times editors Danny Danko and Nico Escondido, plus other experts and cannabis celebrities. Attend activism seminars with leaders of the medical marijuana movement, including advice on how to start your own cannabis business. Meet industry leaders in medical cultivation, hydroponics, smokable glassware, hemp products, dispensary supply, cannabis accessories, and more. Plus, Medical Cannabis Cups will be awarded to the best indicas, sativas, concentrates, and edibles entered by legally operating medical marijuana dispensaries and growing collectives. And don't forget Saturday night when the Medical Cannabis Cup will host the extravaganza with surprise musical guests. The High Times Medical Cannabis Cup, April 2nd and 3rd, 2011 at Exto in Denver, Colorado. Visit medcancup.com for details. Be part of the growing cannabis industry. Come to the High Times Medical Cannabis Cup in Denver.
Medical marijuana, industrial hemp, consumer cannabis. It's time for this week's Normal News with Cannabis Carrie.
We reported last month about the Iowa lawmaker who traveled to California and faked symptoms to get his California medical marijuana card. Representative Clell Bodler, a Republican from Greenfield, Iowa, who is against any efforts in his home state to legalize medical marijuana, was trying to make a point that Iowa should not legalize medical marijuana and adopt a California-style system. Clell Bodler told his California adventure story in a letter to reporter Gavin Aronson from Mother Jones News. In it, he detailed how he and his son went to a Venice Beach clinic and how he told a physician there that he had hemorrhoids and depression. The law in California states that anyone who fraudulently represents a medical condition or fraudulently provides any material misinformation to a physician can be tossed in jail for up to 6 months and fined up to $1,000. Bodler says he will gladly appear in front of an ethics board because the Oriental doctor who only spoke broken English probably isn't a licensed physician anyway. Well, a complaint was made to the Legislative Ethics Committee over the incident filed by Mike Persch, a medical marijuana supporter from Des Moines. On Wednesday, though, the complaint was dismissed against Representative Bodler by the Ethics Committee because they are claiming they don't have the authority to reprimand him. The dismissal vote was unanimous. Some have suggested that lawmakers should change House rules so they can address such issues in the future. Charlie Smithson, the chief clerk of the Iowa House, said the complaint against Bodler did not fall under the purview of the committee. According to Smithson, the panel can only issue rulings on issues such as gifts, conflicts of interest, and certain financial reports. Instances of lying or breaking the law are not issues that the committee handles. Smithson says that he has begun working on a bill that would broaden the committee's jurisdiction. Now, the man who did make the complaint attended the meeting and said that if an ethics committee couldn't address the issue, then he asked if it was okay for an elected official to break the law. He believes that Bodler thinks he is above the law and he wants him to lose his job. He said he hopes that the committee would at least call for an investigation. Bodler, who did not attend the meeting, said the committee made the right decision and he does not regret his actions.
Oh, Clell Bodler. We've got a picture of him up on the webcam, looking scornfully up at Carrie right at the moment. And you can kind of tell from Clell's body language, what he thinks of medical marijuana. This guy, he says his doctor, his Oriental doctor, could only speak broken English. Apparently, Clell didn't get the memo that food is Oriental, people are Asian. But, cut the 71-year-old guy some slack. He thinks there's statutory limits on tattoos. Here's another quote. This is from his newsletter. I explained to them that I wanted medical marijuana, he puts the scare quotes around it, and was admitted immediately by an armed security guard that had to weigh close to 110 pounds. He had 10 earrings on and about his face and ears, and in my mind was way over the legal limit on tattoos. And you kids get off my lawn. This is the guy. It's just odd to me that he would go to California with the most lax liberal medical marijuana laws, go down to Venice Beach, the worst place you can go as far as getting a good idea of what medical marijuana is all about in the state of California, right? The worst of the worst. That's his example of what medical marijuana would be in Iowa when they're trying to pass a bill that is so strict and so regulated that it looks nothing like California. And furthermore, just to round this up, it's nice to know that it's not unethical in the Iowa House of Representatives to lie or publicly admit to breaking other states' laws. That's good to know.
The state of Kansas has a second opportunity to review a bill to legalize medical marijuana. Wichita Democrat Representative Gail Finney is trying for the second year to get a medical marijuana bill taken serious by her colleagues at the state capitol. Last year, her efforts stalled after it was picked up by the Health and Human Services Committee. They did hear testimony both from supporters and opponents, but the bill still stalled in committee and was not brought up again. This second time around, Representative Finney says that she's having a hard time even getting it on the agenda for discussion. The committee chair has cited timing issues and low support as the reason for not putting the bill on the agenda. If a bill isn't heard by the committee in a timely manner, there's no time to work out any issues. That's the normal evolution of any bill that eventually becomes a law. Her bill has been revised since last session. The bill now refers to cannabis instead of marijuana, and it has tighter regulations with an oversight compassion board and allows the marijuana to be taxed. Although the bill most likely will not make it onto the agenda this session, Representative Finney says that she will continue to introduce it while she's a member of the House. She has come out and said that she is not advocating for recreational marijuana legalization, but added, quote, anyone that is seriously concerned about their constituents, particularly someone that is suffering, in my opinion, it would be less of me not to introduce this bill.
Well, good for her for introducing the bill, but I hope at least everyone picked up on the key phrase in this story, lack of support. Right? Lack of support means they're not hearing the phones ring there in the State House. These legislators are not being pressured by the people of Kansas to take this up. If you're listening to me from the state of Kansas, please get involved. We've already got NORML chapters functioning in Kansas now at the Kansas State University, I believe. We've got a Johnson County, Kansas chapter that's going. We want to get more chapters established in the Midwest because medical marijuana is popular everywhere. Even the polls in Kansas, when they're asked about it, will range in the 60 to 70% range. It's just a matter of getting that motivated and activated to make positive change. There's a situation in marijuana reform that's kind of like a junior high school dance. Nobody wants to be the first person out on the floor, but once somebody else is out there dancing, more people come out to dance. The same thing applies to reform. If you get involved and you stick your neck out, other people will feel emboldened to join up with you and to make a positive change. We've got links at our blog at stash.normal.org. If you can't find the story, just go up to the search box in the top right corner, type in Kansas. You'll find everything we've got on legislative efforts to change the laws there in Kansas.
And get your calculators out. The state of Washington has an official estimate of the percentage of people that might buy marijuana if it were to become legal. The Washington State Liquor Control Board did an estimate based on part from a study by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. They came up with an estimate of 10% of the adult public would purchase legal marijuana. Bruce Ramsey of the Seattle Times says based on that number, he calculates that the value of legalizing marijuana in his state would be an immediate $300 million every year. Ramsey comes up to his estimate by deducing that if 10% of people over the age of 21 consume legalized cannabis, about 5% of those legal consumers may consume an average of 2 grams a day. The other 95% would consume an average of 2 grams a week. If those buyers purchase discount products at $3.50 a gram, a third buys mid-range products at $10 a gram, and a third goes for the more premium product at $15 a gram, the numbers work out to around $300 million. House Bill 1550, the legalization bill, would add a 15% tax on marijuana sold through liquor stores. The Liquor Control Board estimates that the total sales volume of legal marijuana in the first 12 months would be $581.5 million, including the 15% tax. With that number in mind, the estimate would break down to $36.5 million in tax revenue to the state, an additional $12.9 million for local governments, an additional $5 million would come from farmers' licensing fees, and $1.8 million in business and occupation tax. There would also be a hefty profit for the Liquor Board. If the state monopoly on liquor sales in Washington nets the same profit margin on marijuana as it does with alcohol, they stand to make $172 million. That totals to about $304 million every year. That's from the first year and just going upwards from there. Doug Hyatt, the Seattle attorney and leader in Sensible Washington, the group that will be gathering signatures for a voter initiative to legalize marijuana in Washington, laughed at those numbers. He feels that it would be much, much higher figure than that, but says that the bill may not make it into a law. Even if passing, he does not think that Governor Christy Gregoire would sign it. He said she told him months ago that she is not interested in legalizing marijuana, but he is hopeful that the bill has been introduced, has had a public hearing, and that there are so many representatives in the state that have signed it. 13 Democrat representatives, mostly from the Puget Sound area, have signed on this time around.
Well, this is good stuff, and I double-checked the math that he was doing. He was getting his figures from the National Surveys on Drug Use and Health, and he's pretty accurate as far as the consumption rates here, although it did sound kind of surprising to me. You know, he was saying 5% will use 2 grams a day. The rest of the people will use 2 grams a week. Well, 2 grams a week, you know, that's about an eighth every 2 weeks, a fat eighth, 4-gram eighth. So that might be just about right. And then he talks about how, he breaks it down in thirds here, whereas people would buy swag, mid-grade, and kind, and that the kind would be $15.60 a gram. That's matching out to, what we're seeing in dispensaries in medical marijuana states. So that seems pretty accurate as well. But I can't help but think the state will gain so much more than $300 million a year when we start to add all the ancillary businesses and all of the job creation that will happen from a legal marijuana market in the evergreen state. And it sure will be an evergreen state if we can get this passed. Oh, we seem to have lost Carrie on the line there, so we'll move on to another story that we have here from our Stupid Stoner Stories archive.
Stupid Stoner Stories. As a public service, NORML reminds you that smoking marijuana will not make one stupid. However, some stupid people do smoke marijuana. Don't be one of those stoners that make the rest of us look bad. Learn your lesson from today's Stupid Stoner Story.
Reporting to you from the Dalles, I'm Freddie Farrock. The Dalles Chronicle. Joel Dobrin, age 32 of San Diego, California, was stopped at February 9th in Sherman County. Sergeant John Terrell, while pulling Dobrin over on a routine traffic stop, reportedly spotted a sock being thrown from Dobrin's 1998 GMC pickup. According to a sheriff's office report, the traffic stop yielded some marijuana and hashish. During the traffic stop, Dobrin explained that when Terrell was stopping him, Dobrin attempted to stash his controlled substance. While doing this, Dobrin's large dog grabbed the sock the controlled substance was stored in and began playing tug-of-war with the drug-laden sock. Dobrin and the dog struggled for the sock, but the dog won and ultimately tossed the sock full of drugs out the window. Found in the sock was a user amount of marijuana and some hashish. Quote from Sherman County Sheriff Brad Lowry said, quote, "I wish everyone traveled with their own personal drug dog. It sure would make our job easier." End quote. Oh my God, what a terrible story. Note to self, do not store any hashish in Roscoe's play toys. That would be a bad idea,
Yeah,
John.
that might not work.
Because he'd win that tug of war too. Oh, what a damn shame that happened. I guess the lesson here is to, do a better job of stashing your stuff when you're on the road. Keep that stuff in your trunk, keep it in an opaque container, locked away, smelling proof, man. There's no reason it needs to be anywhere where you can reach it as a driver. And to be keeping it in a sock when your dog is the kind of dog that likes to play tug of war, aka most of them. So, not the brightest thing, but God, I feel bad for the guy, just kind of an accidental thing that happened. I hope he's got himself a good lawyer, and I hope things turn out well for him.
I think it's time for a break.
I think it's definitely time for a break, and we'll smoke a nice bowl for our friend Tim Martin from John Doe Radio. Get well soon, my man. We'll talk to you again soon.
It's 20 after the hour, and we have to take a short break, if you know what I mean. Please support these sponsors who support NORML Show Live.
Oh, have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he swam to China, he would send you South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.
Starfish Designs, makers of the original Gandalf.
I'm Radical Russ, and when I want to relax, I always have my 17-inch long original Gandalf from Starfish Designs nearby. The hand-blown borosilicate glass is strong and easy to clean, and the design is sleek and sophisticated. Starfish Designs are available from Bend, Oregon at a glass retailer near you. For locations, call 541-788-GLASS. That's 541-788-4527.
As High Times Senior Cultivation Editor, I'm often called into the field and asked to sample or even identify exotic strains of marijuana in their natural habitat. Now, for the first time, I've compiled more than 120 of my favorite strains into this single field guide designed to fit into your pocket as you travel the world in search of your favorite plant. From a friend's closet grow room to the wilds of Northern California, this single guide covers all of today's best-known strains, plus heirlooms and throwbacks, including High Times quality photos and information on each variety's genetic heritage and growing characteristics, plus my personal notes on aroma, flavor, and potency. So this is Danny Danko, author of the official High Times Field Guide to Marijuana Strains, wishing you good times and great ganja.
If you like what you hear and would like to donate to the cause, send your check or money order to NORML Show Live, 1600 K Street Northwest, Suite 501, Washington, D.C., 20006. Your donation is a tax-deductible gift to the NORML Foundation and will be used to help support this online media. Thank you. It's time for your daily Toker Tunes, the best in 420 friendly music from all genres that uplifts, entertains, and informs the public. Today we bring you tunes for Groovin' Thursday. Our salute to all the dopest beats and killer rhymes that we find in the best of rap, hip-hop, soul, R&B, and funk. Brought to you by the John Doe Radio Show in Denver, Colorado. Accurate and informative marijuana reform news and entertainment. Available on the THC Media Network and JohnDoeRadio.com. If you'd like to submit your song to be played on NORML Show Live, send it to us at stash@normal.org. Now here's some more great independent marijuana music for today's Daily Toker Tunes.
All right, folks. Hey, 23 after the hour, and we're calling an audible here because talk about a soldier for the cause. My man, Tim Martin from John Doe Radio is on the line right now. How are you doing?
Yeah, that's another question and all in itself. So I'll go ahead and tell you guys the full short story of everything, and I'm way out of it, by the way, guys. I've had so much painkillers and so much of everything else, and I'm just so tired.
You're on the hard drugs today.
Yeah, very much so. I have an interesting statement about the marijuana too here in a minute, so everybody's going to love this. But what happened basically the other night? I mean, I was in excruciating pain. Decided to go to the hospital, they sent me back home because they couldn't get the stone out. And then last night, it was just unbearable, horrible pain. And I really didn't want to go. None of us want to go to the hospital, but I finally went, and they said I had a dilated kidney and a kidney stone that wouldn't come out. So they went in, lasered it out, and now I have a stint. So...
Wow, man. I had kidney stones just a couple of years ago, man. It's the most unbelievable whole body pain I'd ever experienced.
Yeah, and let me tell you what, the stint in there is not fun at all.
Not fun at all. We hope you're doing okay, and we're glad to hear you're out and everything.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad. I wanted to come home. I just didn't want to sit in there anymore. I think it's pretty much under control. I don't think there's going to be any more stones. Hopefully not. I've never had anything like this before. I've never experienced anything like this. But why I really called, and I thank everybody for the well wishes. I even got sent balloons, and it was cool. I really appreciate that. Thank you guys very much for being awesome listeners. The thing is, though, I told the hospital right from the start about my medical marijuana use. None of them had anything bad to say about it. And in fact, right now, here, I'm going to post this link up in the chat room. Here's a picture of my, that's a picture from my Facebook, so everybody should be able to get to it. It says on there, medical marijuana as needed for migraines, resume home medication.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah.
I'll pull this up on the webcam for people that don't have the ability to link to it here. Let's pull over here. But go ahead and keep talking. I'll just...
When I saw it, I was like a little blown away. I was like, wow. I mean, I talked to a few people there about it. This one lady didn't seem like she was too receptive of medical marijuana, but when I sat there and explained to her, how many harsh painkillers they've given me over the past decade and, what 2 THC infused tablets will do to me, I mean, there's a huge difference. So, the picture might be a little...
We've got it up on the screen right now. There it is. Medical marijuana as needed for migraines.
Yep.
The stent, by the way, man, the stent doesn't suck that bad to come out. It seems like it will, but talk your way through it, and you'll get through it fine.
Oh, man. I do not wish this on anybody. I'll tell you that right now. It's one of the worst dang feelings I've ever had. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everybody on John Doe Radio, everybody with Normal Show Live, and the well wishes and good times, man. I really do. Really appreciate it a lot.
Oh, thank you, Tim. And we'll see you in April at the NORML conference. And John will be out there beginning of April for the Medical Cannabis Cup. So welcome to the Brotherhood of the Stones, they're saying out in the chat room.
Definitely. April 22nd, too, on that in the middle of all the NORML convention. We're going to have a John Doe Radio, Normal Show Live, medical cannabis, recreational cannabis. I don't even care. We'll name it all. We're going to have a big old party, and it's probably going to be at Hemp Hoodlum's place here on Santa Fe, a brand new place that they have. TH Seeds, Adam Dunn from TH Seeds owns it.
Righteous, man. Awesome. We're looking forward to it, and thanks for calling in. We're going to go to one of your pre-recorded intros for the Groovin' Thursday. We thank you so much for doing this work for us, and we'll see you soon.
You guys rock. Thank you.
Yeah, we love you, Tim.
John Doe Radio.
John Doe here with your Groovin' Thursday tune on Normal Show Live. Some of Humboldt County's finest with a mix of flavor from Missouri. Potluck and Tech 9 join us this week to throw down. As many of you know, Tech 9 has been around for a while and is one of the most successful, if not the most successful, underground rap artist ever. His raps with blinding speed send some people's heads into a spin, but to others it's the perfect mix of smooth and hardcore all in one. You either like him or you don't. Southern swang is also something else that comes through with Tech 9 added to this song. Then add one of the best Toke session acts to the party and you have a truly poppin' song. Potluck is signed to the Cottonmouth Kings label, Subnoise Records, and as their name hints to, they're all about the greens. Potluck just released their greatest hits CD called Greatest Hits with My Buds. It contains a ton of collaborations on songs, including the Cottonmouth Kings, E40, Head PE, and even D12. Pick it up on iTunes or any other way, really. No matter where you get it, you got it right. Potluck featuring Tech 9, What We Are. I'm John Doe. Till we meet again next week. See ya.
What you're about to witness is one of the best collaborations of all time. Kansas City's, Humboldt County's, showing we are what we are.
Hey yo, when I rap, no, never nobody do it better. I'm out for the cheddar, I'm pretty center. I got a mean vendetta, my team is too clever, never ever gonna stop, cause I rock fast forever. You ain't never gonna see me when I beat me. When it comes to the rhyme, can't beat me. All the girls say, even some of we leave when I meet me. Bust on the scene like Jeezy. And everybody wanna pop those CD. After the show, collect the dough, then we go to the hotel. bitch. Get stupid, get dumb. Matter of fact, let's steer. Underrated and about my beers. Put the ball in the back of the Benz. Quick run and tell all your friends. It's pot like a tech, not rocking again. And we rockin' them over with the sky over the flow. We so cold, gotta go golden. When I lock in the low like a fofo at a show, man, I'm never so. I'm just a little criminal, unforgettable. Let it go in the stereo show, but getting high. Motherfuckers terrible, pitiful, and barrel. When they lyrical and if they want to battle, they gon' die. Now we got the road to riches. Acting hella cold to bitches. I gotta stand in the spirit with my hand in my dick, cause I wanna be saying I'm rich, bitch.
Party with y'all, we drinking crown up at the bar. Smoking with y'all, take it to the head till we fall. Ducking the law, we hit the corners till they don't see you. Fucking with y'all, cause we are what we are. When I party with y'all, we drinking crown up at the bar. Smoking with y'all, take it to the head till we fall. Ducking the law, we hit the corners till they don't see you. Fucking with y'all, cause we are what we are. We are.
Anybody got another pill? I gotta get a motherfucker to give me the artificial love, and I wanna be trippin', I gotta be high. Trying to take it hella wicked until we die. Never the nigga to get a million when I'm trippin' and buckin' it. I'm a nigga in the party with your bitch and I'm fucking it, but you gotta be ready to get up to go. If you wanna start up a fight up a raggedy hoe, me and Pod Love with the cocks up and the hot slugs trying to bust the nut before the side locks up. Giving a minute to get a sip in it, but everybody shippin' when I deliver the top pops up. Underrated, he made it a bomb with the heat, making it so it ain't never calm in the street. Checking into a one-time nigga we come from, nothing we bustin' like hell's bombs on the bubble beat. Verbally, you heard me, murder me, mental capacity, flip with Missouri, get back at me, pack a me, think I'm me, take a motherfucker with a tongue. Nigga, you better be steadily bringing the medley readily, cause every nigga thinking ahead of me will never be petty, because I bring it like a bullet from a gun. So what you really wanna do? Get back on the road, get a sack, crack the boot. Put a bitch in the back and I give her what she really want. A motherfucker to making it do what it do with a cover blue. 151 Malibu rum and pineapple juice. You know the party gotta be fun, compatible groups of niggas. Chillin' with the homegirls and 707 with the liquor.
When I party with y'all, we drinking crown up at the bar. Smoking with y'all, take it to the head till we fall. Ducking the law, we hit the corners till they don't see you. Fucking with y'all, cause we are what we are. When I party with y'all, we drinking crown up at the bar. Smoking with y'all, take it to the head till we fall. Ducking the law, we hit the corners till they don't see you. Fucking with y'all, cause we are what we are. We are.
Bartender, can I get another round with a little bit of ice and a lot more crown? Kick strong with the clowns when I'm in your town, but it all go down cause I got that sound. Say what I wanna when I talk, when you really wanna smoke, better try humble. Take a hit to you, cry and choke. Now you know why I rhyme so dope. Party all day and night with a hoe. Gonna get that dough like I just passed go. When the next show better be the best go. Kick it out the hotel, I just get so Frisco. All the way to Esco, flow magic and I say presto. Let a nigga get a little sip of XO. I pull the best over to the bitch, let's go. I do what I do, rap what I be. Flow straight heat, getting hot in the street. Got what I need, growing pop from the seed. You can take it from me, with the top for the peak. Do what I can for the fam. I am what I am, I'm another weed man. Green like a vegan, not a mean man. I don't got a green thumb, I got a whole green hand.
When I party with y'all, we drinking crown up at the bar. Smoking with y'all, take it to the
You want a copy of that song for your iPod? Check out the Daily Toker Tunes at the Stash blog by surfing to stash.normal.org and choosing Media, and then Toker Tunes from the main menu.
Starfish Designs, makers of the original Gandalf.
I'm Radical Russ, and when I want to relax, I always have my 17-inch long original Gandalf from Starfish Designs nearby. The hand-blown borosilicate glass is strong and easy to clean, and the design is sleek and sophisticated. Starfish Designs are available from Bend, Oregon at a glass retailer near you. For locations, call 541-788-GLASS. That's 541-788-4527. This is Normal Show Live.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years. They've got mandatory sentences, and these judges just say, they throw up their hands and say, there's nothing we can do. It's mandatory sentences. We've got to take a look at what we're considering crimes.
When the Reverend Pat Robertson from television's The 700 Club
criminalizing marijuana, criminalizing the possession of a few ounces of pot and that kind of thing. I mean, it's just
makes more sense on the marijuana issue than the President, the Congress, and the Supreme Court.
It's costing us a fortune, and it's ruining young people. The young people go into prisons, they come out, they go in as youths, and they come out as hardened criminals, and it's not a good thing.
You know we're winning.
Also by Barry McCaffrey, General Barry McCaffrey, I should say, retired general, military airlines at NBC, and most importantly for this conversation, former National Drug Policy Director, very familiar with this conversation.
Normal Show Live, where the truth about marijuana gets more than a minute to speak.
General, I'm going to begin with you.
Weed.
That's Hooey Valley, Hooey Hollywood.
Weed.
Where any office boy or young mechanic.
Now it's time for a report from the epicenter of American cannabis culture with our Southern California correspondent. You know her from ComedyNation.com and her appearance as a finalist on Season 1 of NBC's Last Comic Standing. It's our friend, cannabis comedian and marijuana activist, the lovely and talented Terry Joyce.
Oh, it's so good to be back and speaking with Terry Joyce, who also is lovely and talented, as are everyone who joins us here on Normal Show Live. Terry, welcome to the show.
Well, I'm a pleasure to be on the show.
Yes.
And it's great to talk to you today.
We're a show full of lovely talent, I suppose. Hey, we were talking just a second ago about Portland's new comedy club, Helium, and we want to know what it's going to take to get you booked at Helium.
Well, I would love to be there, and perhaps, putting a word in at the club for me may be helpful. Maybe we can join forces and send them some sort of press release and put the correlation together that I've been part of the marijuana movement there and worked with you up in Portland and have been a regular and I don't know, put our heads together.
Consider
I think it would be
done.
great.
I'm going to talk to the manager tonight about it.
Yeah, I'm thinking if you're going to have a 420 style comedy show, what better place to talk about getting high than a place called Helium?
That's right. That's right. And that's a really good marketing angle. I like it.
I thought so too. Now, Terry, I understand that you're a little stressed out. You got a ton of stuff going on. So tell us what's got you all stressed out.
Oh my God, you heard that. Well, you know how it is. Kudos to you and the Daily Normal audio stash. It is really something producing a show. I did get the first Hollywood Hemptress show out yesterday.
Right.
And to work aboard and do the sound cues and then come in and be focused to do the interview is a definite skill. I did hit the wrong tab in the beginning, and I do think that maybe I started the show with saying, "Oh shit."
Well, as a debut, that's the first thing that you ever say on your first ever show. That's right up there.
Okay, good. Then I'm glad that I'm in the vein of being normal.
Yeah, sure. No, I got to tell you, when I started talk
intended.
radio, Terry, I was terrified, and I was going out over the air live for the first time, and it was 3 minutes before going on the air, and I asked the producer, the guy that was pushing me in this show, I said, "Do you have any last minute advice?" And he goes, "Yeah, be good, don't suck." So I said, okay, I guess I got that going for me. So how is your show? Tell folks when they can listen to your show and what it's all about.
Well, I'm blessed to be part of a really great network. It's called New Dissident Radio, and it's founded by Johnny Dam. It's his network. He is the host, two-time award-winning host of the Damage Report. It's Hollywood Hemptress. There's other shows on it. I'm with a stellar lineup of talent. Kelly Carlin, George Carlin's daughter, has a show called Waking from the American Dream. Emery, who edited The Aristocrats, and also he edits The Green Room with Paul Provenza. He's a very funny comedian. He has a show launched the same day as I did called Ardent Atheist. So we had a pot show and an atheist show happen on the same day. Wow. What a great world, right?
Yeah, I could be a guest on either of those.
I know. I think we all, we're all friends. We're all handshaking together against the fight of liberation, I suppose.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is our topic was marijuana as a religious sacrament that we had on the show, and as well as the subject matter of the legalization being a force against the New World Order. And who better to have on the show to talk about those subjects but was Craig X. Rubin.
Oh, yeah.
The Wizard of Weed. And I also have the guest that we have today. I invite him on this show. He's a very funny stand-up, and he does a routine. He is the Reverend High, based out in Florida there.
All right, Reverend High, welcome to Normal Show Live.
Hey, how are you, Russ?
I'm doing good. So you've got a routine based on cannabis. Tell us all about it. Give us a little taste.
Well, let's see here. Do you want me to give you one of the sermons out of the Book of Chronicles?
Oh, I think we should go to church and testify.
Amen.
All right, go ahead.
Are you there?
You're on, Rev.
All right, buddy. Okay, I'm going to leave it up to Terry because I did one yesterday. So I have the one from yesterday, which is the one they're more familiar with, and I have one called Unite. So what do you want to hear, Terry?
Well, since I heard the one from yesterday, let's hear the other one. Is it Unite?
You got it. You got it. It is Unite.
Okay.
And in my religion, we don't pray, we sway. Okay, so you may hear that word in that.
All right.
Here we go. Listen up, my stoner friends, gathered across the land. It's time that we unite, time to formulate a plan. They bullied us for way too long. We've let them tell us what to do, but change is in the future. It's up to me and you. If you hide behind the walls, then they will get their way. Break out from the barriers, join the fight today. They think that we are stupid, brains clouded without thought, smoking all their brain cells, getting dumber from the pot. Underestimate us if you will. That works fine for us. We will just grow stronger, for in the weed we trust. While you sit upon your high horse, passing judgment on us all, we await the day that hypocrites will fall. We're stronger than you think, and are educated too. When we stick together, there's nothing we can't do. It's not just skater punks and thugs. We also have careers. Keep condemning us for smoking plants while you sip upon your beers. You take away our freedom, lock us up in jail, but you can't lock us all up. True justice will prevail. Your version of justice makes me sick deep within. The battle will be long, but believe that we can win. Brothers and sisters everywhere, hear the words I say. We must come together. Now gather round, let's sway. In the name of the bong, the bud, the lighter, we'll have each other's back. Like a task force chase the enemy, meth, heroin, and crack. I'll go to jail for this. I'll stand up for the cause, to change the tyrant's evil ways and legislature's flaws. There's more of us than them. Fire up, it's time to ride. We're more powerful than you think. Mother Nature's on our side.
Oh, amen, brother. That is fantastic. I love this.
Amen.
So you have a lot of these, this kind of, somebody in the chat room is saying it reminds of Michelle Silverstein, kind of a beat poetry thing. Is this something you've been doing for a long time?
Yes. Well, I've been doing stand-up, and I actually had a chance to go out on the road with a circus sideshow, the Jim Rose and some awesome guys that were involved with him, where I just learned this showmanship, and I developed this character out there. And for me, the marijuana is a way of life anyway, so I just became an ordained minister. And, some call me the Rev High, some call me the Minister of Marijuana. I bring my black book up on stage, very theatrical, cross between stand-up, a play, theater, all mixed together, and my wild and crazy antics. And I believe the best way we can take over is just by dropping their defenses. And one way we can do that is make them laugh.
Oh, well said. Terry, did you have questions for Reverend High?
Well, there's something else that Reverend High is going through that I find is very interesting. I don't know what it is about comedians getting arrested or terrorized by the FBI, but Reverend High also just recently has his story of coming across the border and is now fighting a possession charge.
Tell us about that.
So I'd like to ask him to, tell us about that.
Well, I made my way from Washington State up there by Portland, which indeed is the promised land for marijuana. And but I was trying to leave the weather, and so I was heading to Florida with my wife and daughter. And again, we weren't going through any borders. We weren't going into Mexico, nor were we coming out of Mexico. But we came upon a spot where there was a border patrol up ahead. We had no idea, because of course they don't advertise like McDonald's, 50 miles to the next border patrol.
Right.
So we rolled up on it, and there was the inbred dingo dog that I'm calling it, because it was not a German Shepherd. And he began to sniff my car immediately, and they never asked me if I was a citizen, which is what I kind of figured that patrol was for. But they pointed at me, and I knew right away what was going to happen. They found 16 grams of train wreck in the back, which was in many ways terrible. I still had a big journey left, and and now I have to go back April 1st and face charges, which will be very tough because I am on tour during that time. I intend to fight it as much as I can, but at the same time, it's tough from another state, you know, and they had my wife and daughter out on the side of the road, and they were interrogating them, and I had already copped for it, and so there was really no reason to do that. And they had the dog sniffing my wife, and it was just ridiculous. They made us feel, you know, like common thugs.
Yeah, we hear those stories too often, and these Border Patrol checkpoints have been ruled constitutional up to, like, I think it's 100 miles from the border. So, you know, draw the Mexican border and then draw a 100-mile line above that, and if you're in that zone, you're fair game, man. They can just pull you over, they can search you. They don't need a whole hell of a lot of probable cause. And from what we've learned recently on these studies on drug dogs and how they alert when their handlers think there's drugs, right? The handlers subconsciously cue the dogs that whenever they meet, you know, one of our kind, if they even have the slightest inkling that you're involved with marijuana, that's going to, you know, lead the dogs to want to find something. So, God, it's a shame that happened to you. Is there any way, what are the ramifications of this? Are you having to still go to any trials or arraignments? Are you facing any time or anything?
Yeah, I sure am. April 1st, I have to, you know, I mean, this is the difference between Washington. Well, here's a funny note. Anyways, 200 miles later, we came upon another one. And the smell of that chronic from 200 miles ago got me interrogated again. I had to bring out the paperwork and show them that I had been arrested. And I said, look at it, your dog is smelling weed that hasn't been in the car for hours. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, so April 1st to go back. In the state of Washington, I got pulled over with a joint on the way to the show. The cop recognized me. He said, you're a funny man. I said, good, you should let me off. He said, you ain't that funny. They gave me 24 hours in jail. It was a misdemeanor. You know, no big deal. 24 hours later, I was out smoking. This, anything under 2 pounds in the state of Arizona is a possession charge, and it's a felony. So my 16 grams might as well have been a pound.
Right. That's such a shame, man.
6 months is the small end.
Oh, well, you know, it's a shame to hear that kind of story, and we hear it all too often, unfortunately, and we wish you the best of luck in that, Reverend High. Before we let you go, we got to wrap things up, but I want to give folks the chance to get in touch with you. If you've got a website, if you've got some performances coming up that you'd like people to know about, go right ahead.
Well, I will be doing the Hemp Fest, and we don't have all the dates left, but we are going to be doing up in Tacoma. We're hoping. Sounds like for sure we will be in Kansas City, Missouri, which is good. And they can always check it out at the RevHighShow.com.
All right. Thank you, Rev High, and RevHighShow.com. And, of course, Terry Joyce, our Hollywood Hemptress. Tell folks about your show and how they can follow you.
Well, you can follow me at Hollywood Hemptress Hour at the newdissidentradio.com, and I'm also on Twitter under Terry Joyce. And tonight I will be going to the premiere at the Comedy Store for Craig X's. He's in a pilot for a movie show, and I'll also be performing at Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank on the 9:30 show. So if you're out here in this area, you want to come see a show live, come on down.
All right. That's great. Glad to hear it, Rev High. Good luck with everything. And Terry, welcome to the world of Internet broadcasting. We're glad to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. We'll be right back with a little radical rant. Stay tuned.
76% of Americans no longer support arresting and jailing marijuana smokers, and nearly as many support the medical patients having access to medical marijuana. And over 80% of our citizens now believe the war on drugs is an ineffective failure. So the question is, when will the government's misguided war on adult marijuana smokers finally end? When? Simple. When you and your like-minded friends, family, and coworkers get involved with an organization such as the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, also known as NORML. My name is Keith Stropp, and I founded the organization in 1970. Contact us at NORML, toll-free, 888-67-NORML, or by visiting the organization's up-to-date webpage at www.norml.org.
Do you really want to legalize marijuana? Prove it. Join NORML today at NORML.org, and your donation will help us spread the growing truth about cannabis. Free speech ain't free, you know.
Free the ganja tree, it's the healing of the nation. Free the Cali weed, good for meditation. Free the pot smokers, they read not the lie. Lighting up the chalice, them keep no malice. Free the marijuana, come on, say. Free the marijuana, hear me say. Free the marijuana, come on, say. Free the marijuana. Legalize it.
You want answers?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
You want answers?
You have offended my family.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth.
And you have offended Shaolin Temple.
You can't handle the truth.
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Radical rant.
One of the things I've been very concerned about in my tenure as NORML's outreach director is how we can increase the participation in the marijuana law reform community from Latinos in this community. You know, the Latino market, Hispanics in America, are the fastest growing demographic group in this country. And by 2050, white guys like me and the majority of drug law reformers will be a minority compared to all minorities combined. So it's imperative upon drug law reformers to add a little bit of color to our lineup to make sure that we are having an outreach to all the people, especially when you consider the statistics of the war on drugs and, of course, the war on marijuana. We told the story earlier of New York City's marijuana arrests, how they've topped 50,000 arrests in just 1 year. I actually did the calculation and found that means 1 out of 17 marijuana arrests takes place in New York City. 1 out of 17 American marijuana arrests takes place in New York City. But, of course, the stats on that are very, very skewed away toward locking up black and brown people. According to the statistics, 70% of those arrested in New York City for marijuana possession crimes are younger than age 30, and 86% are black and Latino. Even though when you look at the use rates of marijuana in New York City and across the country, blacks and Latinos use marijuana less than other demographic groups in this country. When we look at the national surveys on drug use and health, they show us some pretty telling statistics. 49% of all white people in America have tried marijuana. Nearly half of all people, all white people have tried marijuana, which is, of the major demographic groups, the largest group as far as people who have tried marijuana. African Americans are second, and then Latinos come in third in overall use of marijuana. And this is seen in the statistics in New York City as well when we look at use of marijuana. Disproportionately, Latinos and African Americans, though, are locked up for marijuana. I'm fond of saying that 3 out of 4 people in America who smoke pot are white, but 3 out of 4 people who get locked up for it are not. And that's what we're finding here from these statistics. Of all the people who have ever smoked marijuana in the United States, 75.7% of them are Caucasian, white Americans. Only 10% are black and 9% are Hispanic. When we look at the figures by racial group, only 41% of black people have tried marijuana. Only 31.4% of Hispanics have tried marijuana, the lowest rate other than Asian Americans, which is only 14.7% of Asian Americans have tried marijuana. But then again, as I was mentioning, the racial statistics on the arrests do not bear that statistic out. This is a graph of the state prisoners serving time for drug charges. As of 2006, 44% of people in jail, in state prisons, I should say, for drug charges are African American. 21% are Hispanic, despite the fact that we've shown Hispanics use marijuana at much less rates than African Americans or whites. Whites make up 27% of those state prisoners doing time on drug charges. And this becomes more imperative when we look at the violence that is taking place in the Mexican drug war. We have the city of Juarez, Chihuahua State in Mexico, having more murders in 1 year than the entire state of California. That's right. Some 2,700 murders in Juarez over the last year that we have statistics, compared to 1,900 that we have in the entire state of California over the same year. In the map that we're showing on the screen, all of the dark red shaded areas of Mexico are places that have had more than 250 murders in 1 year. That's most of what you're seeing on the Pacific coast of Mexico and up there near Texas. That entire area of the country, just a bloodbath. And we also see in the graph in the bottom right corner, the red bars indicating how many journalists have been killed every year in the Mexican drug war. 10 in the last year's statistics. 10 journalists killed just trying to cover this drug war. This means that we need to especially reach out to Latinos and to show them how this war on drugs, even though they don't consume marijuana, is affecting them. That the war on drugs is disproportionately punishing their people, disproportionately locking them up, and they can't turn a blind eye to it or turn away from it from some sort of moralistic point of view. It needs to be addressed as being injustice to Latin American people, to Hispanic people in this country. And furthermore, the unfair stereotyping that goes on of Latin Americans, Mexican Americans in this country because of the demonization that happens in the war on drugs. I received a phone call just, was it yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, from a gentleman, and he was speaking to me from Trinity County, California, in the Emerald Triangle. And of course, there's medical marijuana there, and there's quite often city council meetings or county board meetings, whatever they're called, where they have to meet and discuss what the county's going to do about regulations on dispensaries or on personal grows or whatever it might be. And this gentleman was complaining because he was telling me of how he would go to testify at these county meetings, and there were so many people coming to testify, other members of the public coming to testify, saying blatantly racist and bigoted things about Mexicans and Hispanics. You know, we need to drive all the spics, and that's the wording he told me they're using. We need to drive all the spics out of here, is what they're saying in city council meetings. Now, that's not a surprise coming from the public, right? You know, there's going to be boneheads out there. There's going to be idiots out there that get in front of a microphone at a council meeting and say something ignorant and bigoted like that. What he was complaining about was the city councilors, the people running the meeting, not calling it out. Just, all right, thank you for your words. Good day, right? And how other people who were leaders in medical marijuana movement out there, activists who weren't Hispanic, seemed to not notice it or call any attention to it either. And he was explaining to me how he felt very intimidated in this situation. And he had a thick Hispanic accent, but a very educated man. He told me his background. He's got a doctorate. I mean, the guy is definitely educated and you know, very fluent in English and everything, you know, and so he's just telling his frustration. I'm thinking, here's this guy, right, who has been through college and gotten his doctorate and probably knows so much more about the process and and politics and the issues of medical marijuana than just the average person out there. Yet this expert voice who could lend so much to the discussion, especially from the point of view of the Hispanic community, does not feel welcome in the community, does not feel welcome to voice his views because others in our community aren't calling out the racism that's swirling around us all, right? And I'm not just calling out just medical marijuana on this. I mean, America's a racist country. It's all around us. It's just, we need to find ways to squash that, to call it out for what it is. And when people are, you know, demonizing the Mexican drug trafficking organizations, it's important to understand that's criminals. That's some criminal people who happen to be Mexicans, who happen to be Hispanic. And to not paint with a broad brush and say things like, oh, the damn Mexicans, we got to get the Mexicans out of California. The Mexicans are ruining it all. No. In fact, most of California was Mexico, okay? It's not a coincidence these places are called San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco, okay? It's not a coincidence. But we've got to bring Hispanics into this movement. We need to have more Latino outreach. I am working with some interns to help do some translation projects to make more of this information available to Spanish-speaking audiences. And I'd like to crowdsource this. I'd like to engage and get some help from those of you out there. If you're fluent in Spanish and English and would like to help with some of these projects, help us get some of our stuff translated so these arguments can be better made to the Latino community, we'd really appreciate your help. Just send me an email at stash@normal.org and let me know how you can help and what ideas you have, and we'll work together. We'll bring everyone in on this. All voices need to be heard, especially the voices of the people whose peoples are being locked up far more for marijuana than people like me. I'm Radical Russ. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with Toker Talk Radio here right after the break. For those of you listening on the podcast, thanks for the download. We'll talk to you tomorrow. For Ganja John and Cannabis Carrie, it's Normal Show Live. Until next time, take care of each other, Tokers.
This is Normal Show Live, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Take it on one more time. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow